Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. You know my Premier League pre-season predictions, they're normally about as accurate as a Solly March penalty. But the reality is, I did say Man City would win the league this season and I did predict that Erling Haaland would win the Golden Boot. I felt they were easy predictions and ultimately, in a sad way, it's come true, very true, even before the end of April. You could even say, in relation to the Golden Boot for Erling Haaland, even before the end of August. He's been unbelievable and that's what I want to talk about today. Is he the number one in the world and should he be winning the next Ballon d'Or? Let's get into it because Erling Haaland is, without shadow of a doubt, a contender, if not number one. It's funny because I did a tweet yesterday and I was asking who the best player in the world is. For me, the best footballer in the world is Kylian Mbappe. But the best footballer in the world shouldn't always win the Ballon d'Or. Shouldn't always be the number one player in the world. Because it's about form, it's about what you're doing, it's about what your team's doing. And at Manchester City, lots of talk about how good they are, lots of talk about trebles. But individually, Erling Haaland, tell me in the comments, is he the best player in the world at the moment? Is he the number one contender for the Ballon d'Or? He scored 33 Premier League goals in 31 games. That takes him past Mo Salah's record of 32 and one behind Alan Shearer and Andy Cole's record of 34, but they did it in a 42 game season. He's going to break that record with 7 games to go in his debut season. Now, I've always said I'd fancy myself to hit double figures playing up front for Manchester City. Get me on a pedal bike, do a few laps in the swimming pool, work on my lower back with a bit of yoga, and I reckon I'd have the mobility to score at least 10 tap-ins. But jokes aside, I do think you put Danny Ings in that side, I'd fancy him to score 20 goals. But let's not underestimate that it's easy what Erling Haaland's done. I think if you put a world-class striker up front for Manchester City, that's when records get smashed. And that's what's happened here. And I think that I've never been a massive fan of the way that Pep Guardiola plays football. He's brilliant at it, he's methodical at it, he's obsessive about it. But I look at that first goal that they scored against Arsenal in the transition with a long ball to halfway line to Haaland to hold it up and play in De Bruyne. I mean, that's not really what Man City have traditionally been, or Bayern Munich or Barcelona under Pep Guardiola. It's more direct, and that suits a player who is definitely direct, fast, strong, and a brilliant finisher. So powerful. I think the word I would use is with Erling Haaland is powerful. And his career has all been about that. Incredible player. The striker always gets the plaudits. The striker always wins the awards. But I think it's very, very difficult. And it's over to UEFA, I suppose. It's over to the voters. It's over to the public. If you're not going to give Erling Haaland the number one rating in the world at the moment and the Ballon d'Or, why not? Because goals win games. He's smashing records there. Manchester City have never won a Champions League. They're very much favourites to do that with Real Madrid. Nobody's ever won a treble in this millennium. 1999 was the last time. Wasn't that long ago, 24 years, but you know what I mean. In the 2000s, nobody's won it. If he wins the Champions League with Manchester City and Manchester City win the treble, then I don't care whether Kylian Mbappe is a better player or Vinicius Junior is a better player, and I think they are, and I'll explain why in a minute. Ultimately, Lewandowski, when he won it, is he the best player in the world? At that time, yes, and I think a lot of it's about the team you're playing. But ultimately, I can't look past him at the moment. I think if they win the Champions League and they win the treble, even if they don't win the treble, if they win the Champions League and the league, I mean, the FA Cup gives you a treble, but it's the lesser of the two trophies, isn't it? You know, a double of the Champions League and the Premier League. In his debut season, winning Manchester City's first Champions League, he would be the catalyst to it. And I think Jack Grealish's game has got better playing with a player like that, where it is a little bit more direct. Absolutely incredible debut season, and I think Erling Haaland goes anywhere and changes the game. I think Real Madrid have still got Benzema, but if they'd bought Haaland, they'd probably win the Champions League. Liverpool wouldn't have because their problems in the midfield, but I think you put Chelsea, you give Erling Haaland to Chelsea, I think they're comfortably in the top 4. He is a world-class striker, and he is somebody that just makes a team better. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was twofold. Is he the best player in the world? No. On ability, I don't think he is. Is he the best player in the world now? That's what you win the Ballon d'Or on. Yes, I think he's the most effective player in the world. Yes. I actually think Kevin De Bruyne is a better footballer than Erling Haaland. I actually think Kevin De Bruyne is more important to Manchester City than Erling Haaland. And I think if you don't get that, you don't get football. But that's not how these awards work. And I think right now, Erling Haaland has to be at number one. People will be screaming, well, if he wins the Ballon d'Or, he's the best player in the world. I disagree. As I said, I think De Bruyne is a better footballer. I think Vinicius Junior is a better footballer. And I think Kylian Mbappe is probably... I think Kylian Mbappe is the best player in the world. And the reason I think that is because we saw it in the World Cup, and that's something Erling Haaland's probably never going to do. He's never going to hit the world stage, is he? I mean, Norway have got some good players, but are they ever going to have enough depth to hit the world stage? Probably not. But George Best's one of the best players that ever played the game. He never hit the world stage with Northern Ireland. You do what you do on your club career. Your passport is a bit of a lottery, really. You know, if you pull out a Brazilian one or a French one, happy days. If you pull out one of the teams that aren't going to really make an impact, it's going to be a struggle. So I don't think you can look at it from a national point of view, but obviously we saw Kylian Mbappe in the World Cup, what he can do. France were terrible in that final and he got them back into it. I think naturally he's a fantastic talent, Kylian Mbappe. I think he's wasting his time at PSG, and I think that can be another reason to say I would give it to Erling Haaland, because ultimately, if you're thinking about Messi or Mbappe, and I think we all know Messi's going to win it because he won the World Cup, but this is the debate I wanted to have. Does Messi deserve the Ballon d'Or because he won the World Cup with Argentina, or does Erling Haaland deserve it for smashing domestic football and taking Man City to the level they've not been able to achieve in their decade of superiority? Sentimentality suggests that this will go to Messi, because football, for some reason, dwells in sentimentality. I personally don't think it should. I think it should dwell in excellence. What if Erling Haaland breaks his leg next year and is never the same again? He will have missed out on a Ballon d'Or that he deserved for what he did. Winning a World Cup, what else has Messi done this season? You know, look, I love Messi, and I think he will win the Ballon d'Or because of sentimentality and because he won a World Cup. But ultimately, was it Mawani running through one-on-one? If Martinez doesn't make that save, France win the World Cup. So, you know, I just think that, you know, football's political. We know that. It's swayed by, you know, what's going to fit the narrative. But I really do think there's a case to say. I was actually sat there this morning thinking, if I'm giving the Ballon d'Or out, obviously Man City have got to win the Champions League, but if they do, I'm giving it to Erling Haaland. I really am. What more can he do? And people say it's based on a calendar year. Well, it should be based on a season as well. It'd be really interesting. But look, on pure ability, I think the best ability players in the world are the players that can change a game on their own. Kylian Mbappe can change a game on his own. Lionel Messi could change a game on his own. Probably still can. Ronaldo could do it. Vinicius Junior can do it. Erling Haaland is massively reliant on the Kevin De Bruynes of this world, the Jack Grealishes, the Bernardo Silvas, the Mahrez, the Gundowans. He needs service. But you give him that service and he has no equal. I think the best talents in the world are the ones that have that individualistic flair to create something from nothing. But that doesn't mean they're the best player in the world at that time. And I think right now, you know, there's a debate to be had why Erling Haaland wouldn't be the standout candidate. And ultimately, you are comparing Messi's holy grail of winning the Argentinian World Cup, or Haaland, you know, completing Manchester City's holy grail of winning the Champions League, the Premier League, and smashing the Premier League goal-scoring record, which has been, you know, 30 years, doing it in his first 9 months. I know what I think's more valuable. I think domestic football and the Champions League is harder than in international football. But international football will hold more romance. And I think we know what will happen. Get the comments in, smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe, give us your thoughts below. Thanks for watching.